If there's one thing I've loved ever since I had any cognitive thought, it was none other than Thunderbirds. I had 3 different Tracy Islands, loads of different Thunderbird toys. Thunderbird 2 was, and always will be, the first time I realised love existed. And collectively, between my mum and I, we managed to save every single episode of the original series onto 6 videotapes. I watched the 2084 anime remake and thought it was incredibly charming. I grew up to get excited, watch, and then create my own version of the 2015 reboot. It's safe to say I loved this show. But there is one thing within the Thunderbirds fandom that we don't discuss. Something so vile, so sickening that it's shocking it even dare tarnish the name of Thunderbirds itself. It's revolting to think about, horrid even, that it exists to this day after so many years. If you don't know what I'm talking about, viewers, please leave now as your minds are not ready for what you're about to see. I liked it for years, but later on I realised how hideous it really was. I'm of course talking about the world of Thunderbirds! I can't stomach it. I've got to review something else. What's as equally as awful as that? That'll do. In terms of Thunderbirds, this is easily the most controversial of the bunch. Besides that, the 2 movies made in the 60s were definitely odd. I still get terrified of seeing Cliff Richard Jr. I'm pretty sure he's my sleep paralysis demon. But generally speaking, those movies are fine, and all other areas of the franchise are very solid. I do want to get some positives out of the way though, give this film a fighting chance, so to speak. So, most of the casting is quite good. To this day, I still think that Sophia Myles is just as good as Rosamund Pike of the new show. Paxton, rest in peace, is a brilliant Jeff Tracy. Ron Cook just fits Parker. Anthony Edwards is a good brains for most of the film, and of course Ben Kingsley just rocks being the Hood. He chews the scenery in every scene he's in. He loves it. Not as great as Sexy Beast, but you know, still good.
No, 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 no! In no fucking way, you made me look a right cunt!
The CGI is pretty good throughout. Some shots are a bit iffy, but generally speaking they hold up well to today's standards. The soundtrack is pretty good. I still listen to some of the music. Hans Zimmer adds his own orchestral flair to the original's brassy theme that attempts to bring it to the big screen, and does it fairly well. But that's where most of the praises end, because now we have to talk about the movie story. Okay, I lied, just a few more praises and then we rip into the movie, I promise guys. This introduction, incredible. It shows off the new Thunderbird designs and they just look so sleek, except for Thunderbird 2. The animation is gorgeous, the music is brilliant for an adaptation of the original song, and the countdown announcer is just beautiful.
Thunderbirds are go!
I want this man to narrate my life. After this, we see Alan Tracy, the youngest of the brothers, in school with F.A.B. He has never appeared in any other form of Thunderbirds lore to my knowledge, and as this review goes on, you realise why. Alan is frustrated that he has to go to school while his brothers constantly go on cool missions, which is ironic considering that is how the audience feels as this film goes on. The Tracy brothers are then seen on TV saving an oil rig from collapsing, and I gotta admit, this bit is pretty cool too, I can't deny it. The CGI, the music and acting, it all holds up pretty well, and if you don't believe me, it literally inspired the 2nd episode of my own series. So for the first 5 minutes you think to yourself, okay, maybe this isn't as bad as I remember. Maybe this movie will actually hold up to a decent standard against the original. But you'd be fucking wrong. We've got a lot of shit to trawl through. After this rescue, a kid tries to bully Alan for being obsessed with the Thunderbirds.
Ooh, I wish I could be a Thunderbird one day. Thunder turd.
That's another good one, diaper boy.
This film is fucking stupid, I swear to God.
Hello, boys.
I spoke too soon. Lady Penelope picks up the boys and takes them to Tracy Island. Meanwhile, the Thunderbirds drop off the oil rig victims at a hospital and fly home. But wait! One of the men fires some tracking gel onto Thunderbird 1, and no one noticed. Okay, quick side rant. In the original series, Thunderbirds 1 alarm would go off if people took photos of the damn ship. You're telling me it doesn't pick up a fucking gel missile that literally smacks the side of his screen? Scott, man, you've jeopardized everything, and you can literally see it on the windscreen when you leave Thunderbird 1. Anyway, everyone gets home. Jeff and the Tracy brothers greet Alan and Fermat, and we learn that Fermat's dad is Brains, which means Brains has procreated. Who is this child's mum? Who is mated with this man? These aren't questions the world is ready for. Alan immediately doesn't like burgers and so goes off to Thunderbird 1 without his dad's knowledge, after just saying he wants to be a Thunderbird. No, nothing suspicious about that. Absolute genius over here. Alan and Fermat get into Thunderbird 1 and nearly launch it, causing Jeff to get naturally cross. They notice the weird compound from earlier and try and tell Jeff, but he doesn't listen and grounds Alan for spring break. By the way, if you think I'm rushing the plot, I need to tell you I'm not. This very important moment that sets up the rest of the movie is over and done with in like a minute. All of the fun stuff, they kind of just get out of the way so they can tell their own story, and it just gets dull. But we're not there yet, so let's carry on. Despite Alan just telling Jeff about the compound, he doesn't even follow it up. Also, Fermat tells Brains the exact same thing, but nothing comes of it. At all. You could remove this entire scene from the movie and it would make no difference. After this, we meet John Tracy and we get some weird dialogue between him and Jeff.
Alan's home for spring break.
I thought I could see a storm brewing in your region.
Teenagers.
Well, we've all been there. And Dad, you've done a great job since Mom died.
Normal people don't talk like this. This is fucking weird. After this, we are properly introduced to the Hood and his henchmen. Okay, I need to make another point. At random bits during this movie, certain characters will just appear out of nowhere without any introduction.
Dinner's ready. Come and get it.
The island is in sight.
Who are these people? I can't even make a joke out of them because they have little to no personality. We need them to be given proper introductions. The only reason I know their names is because I had to Google them. But here's where the problem gets worse. Scott, Virgil and Gordon, the other three boots on the ground Tracy brothers, are hardly in this movie. Yeah, that's right. In a movie based on the 1960s TV show where arguably those three were the most popular Thunderbird characters, they have a screen time of 18 minutes. In this 90-minute film about Thunderbirds. So not only do we hardly know anything about these new characters that are introduced, the main Tracy brothers that the marketers are relying on for the people to come and watch the film have even less character. Now you might be saying, hey, come on, we still have Alan, he's a Tracy brother. Well, we'll get to him in due time. I know I said that about Fermat, but just bear with me, we've got to go through the plot first. The Hood then fires a rocket at Thunderbird 5, putting John in danger, and causing Jeff and the boys to leave Tracy Island, and I have to admit, this scene is freaking awesome. No matter how terrible this movie is, and yes, the worst is still to come, seeing Thunderbird 3 rocket out of the island on the big screen is honestly amazing, and is a moment that will stick with me for the rest of my life. So after they leave, Alan, Tintin and Fermat see the Hood invading the island. They catch up to him as the Hood himself confronts Brains and forces him to activate the control switch.
Like a puppet on a string.
Do you get it? The Hood talks to the Tracys, now on Thunderbird 5, and reveals he's trapped them. So this alpha Chad man has taken over Tracy Island with a handful of henchmen, while also using his psycho powers, trapped the Tracy brothers on arguably the most important Thunderbird of the bunch, an incredibly ironic fate for them, and now he has the highest level tech in the world at his disposal, and everyone else on the island at his mercy. And why did he do all this, I hear you cry? Right, you ready? Bracing yourself? His master plan?
I'm going to use the Thunderbirds to rob the largest banks in the world, starting with the Bank of London.
What? What the fuck?
Let's go over this a minute, okay? You got henchmen to blow up an oil rig, then track one of the Thunderbirds. You've taken over Tracy Island, arguably the highest tech and most advanced part of the world at that point in time, and your plan is to rob banks. Are you kidding me? What even is this plan? The Hood claims he's using the Thunderbirds because they once failed to save the Hood in a rescue. Why are you robbing banks then? All that does is make the Thunderbirds look a bit bad till they immediately realise that the Thunderbirds probably don't need money. So I'm going to propose a better plan for the Hood. They nearly got him right, but failed in the execution. This is how I would fix the Hood in this movie. Why not use the Thunderbirds to attempt to destroy the world? Put everyone else's lives at risk. You can still sacrifice Thunderbird 3 in space, because you still have Thunderbirds 1, 2 and 4 at your disposal, plus the endless amount of pod vehicles we see in the film, and while not explicitly stated in the movie, don't these things run on nuclear power? They do in the show, so let's just assume that the movie follows suit. That means you have nuclear power that you can generate on the island. The Hood can destroy the world if he wants to, which makes more sense given his motivation was being abandoned by international rescue, but instead he robs banks just to tarnish the look of Thunderbirds. Well, somebody must have thought it was a good plan because they wanted to tarnish the name of Thunderbirds too.
This joke is getting old, Harry.
Then they cut off contact with the Tracys and attempt to kill children. Okay.
Did you find any children?
Now here's the main issue I have with the film, because after all this happens, the film gets dull. Before it was just a bit weird, like someone scanned a wiki article on the 60s show and proudly exclaimed, I can do that. But after Thunderbird 3 and 5 are trapped in space, the Thunderbirds aren't used for 30 minutes. In this 90-minute movie, the title crafts aren't used for a whole third of the film. Now you might think, well, it's only 30 minutes. It can't be that bad. The show would sometimes not use the Thunderbirds for a third of the episode too. And yes, while that is true, it's because they usually set up the characters that needed to be rescued or show off a new futuristic vehicle, building or device that engage the audience. Instead, we're forced to run around Tracy Island for 30 minutes, a place that has already been established for the majority of the film and is no longer exciting. So now we're left with Alan, Tintin and Fermat. Time to pick these three apart. As they try to get through the island's HQ and away from the Hood, we realise that none of these guys have likeable personalities. Alan's just a dick. Like, yeah, your entire family's in space. Guess what, asshole? Tintin and Fermat's parents are trapped with the fucking Hood. He could literally explode their heads if he wanted to. Fermat is whiny and just a less interesting version of Brains. At least Anthony Edwards catches a certain charm that the 60s one had. Fermat's just like a faulty clone baby of Brains. Oh, so that's how he was born! Tintin is just fine. I guess it's just a shame she's played by this person.
Even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die.
All three of them are alright as side characters, but that's the point. They're made as main stars. I feel uncomfortable watching any of these guys get into the Thunderbird crafts because it's just wrong. They run through Thunderbird 2 silo and show off some new toys. I mean merchandise. I mean pods. No, I do mean toys. Before they escape through Thunderbird 1's silo, Fermat steals Thunderbird 2's guidance processor, which loosely translates to, we needed to extend the runtime of the movie. Tintin shows she has powers, and they get to a satellite and talk to Thunderbird 5. They attempt to give power back, but are hacked by the Hood. Also, this scene happens.
Goodness me, Professor. You're so good looking without your glasses on. Oh no, that's not fair. Just when things were starting to sizzle.
The quantity of bleach needed to clean my brain doesn't exist yet. The henchman tracks the three and they attempt to run away. Alan starts being an asshole to the other two because we have to have the emotional reconnection at some point. And as they try to escape, Tintin and Fermat are captured.
Oh no.
Christ, even Alan doesn't give a shit. That's cold-blooded, man. That's your friends. While all of this has been going on, Lady Penelope and Parker have been observing the news and realise that something has gone wrong with the Thunderbirds. They abandon all their activities for the day and set off in the Rolls-Royce to Tracy Island. What? It's not a Rolls... What is it then? A Ford! It's a Ford. What the fuck? What do you mean it's a Ford? Fab 1 is a Rolls Royce. It's the highest of high class in Britain. And they changed it to a Ford?